You've been fighting your hair with pomades that turn into cement or waxes that leave you looking like you stuck your head in an oil slick. The problem isn't your styling skills, it's that you're using the wrong product category entirely. I'm Marcus Vance, and I've spent 3 months testing 9 different hair balms to find out which ones actually deliver texture and hold without trashing your hair or your wallet.
You're listening to Luxury Beauty on a Budget podcast. Quick note before we go further. Everything you're hearing, the research, the data, the actual script, that's all human verified and written by real people who test this stuff. The voice delivering it is AI generated, but the information itself comes from actual field testing and analysis. If you've been listening for a while now, thank you. It matters that people are using this to make better purchasing decisions. If you just found this show, welcome. We drop new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, covering beauty and grooming products that actually perform without the premium price tag. Now let's talk about what I found testing 9 different hair balms over 3 months.
Men's hair balm does something most pomades and waxes just can't pull off. It gives you flexible hold with real texture separation while actually conditioning your hair instead of drying it out. And here's the thing. Under 20 bucks, you can find formulations that compete with salon products that cost twice as much. You just need to know what to look for when you're reading that ingredient list. I ran these tests across different hair types and climates, tracking how often you need to reapply, whether the product builds up over time, and how long the hold actually lasts. The winners keep your hair in place through a full workday, separate strands without making them crunchy, and wash out completely with 1 round of shampoo. Let me walk you through what actually performs. Now, let's talk about what separates a good balm from the junk. Beeswax should show up in the first 5 ingredients, usually somewhere between 8 and 15% of the formula. That's your sweet spot for hold that doesn't turn stiff. Below 8%, you're holding a cream that's pretending to be a balm. Above 18%, get ready for buildup that won't wash out easily. The best products balance that beeswax with stuff like shea butter at 10 to 12% or lanolin around 3 to 5%. These keep the wax pliable. Here's a quick check. If water appears before any waxes in the ingredient list, you've got a water-based cream that won't give you actual balm performance. Some cheaper formulations add candelilla wax or carnival wax alongside the beeswax. These are harder waxes that make the hold last longer, but too much of them leaves your hair feeling waxy. The ideal ratio is about 70% beeswax to 30% of those harder waxes. I've tested balms that flip this backwards. Sure, they hold position for 12 hours or more, but they get brittle when it's cold outside, and you'll need warm water plus a clarifying shampoo to get them out completely. Moving on to what you want to avoid, petrolatum, mineral oil, paraffin. These are filler ingredients that make the product feel smooth and shiny, but they don't actually help you style your hair. They coat the hair without penetrating it, which means zero conditioning benefit and maximum grease. Quality balms under $20 use natural oils instead. Jojoba, argan, grapeseed. These absorb partially into your hair while still giving you workable texture on the surface. Look for fatty acid content above 70% in whatever oil blend they're using. Oleic acid, which comes from olive or argan oil, and linoleic acid from grapeseed or hemp oil, both give you slip without weighing your hair down. If you see dimethicone or cyclomethicone anywhere in the top 10 ingredients, you're looking at a silicone-heavy product. It's fine for short-term shine, but terrible for your hair's health if you're using it every day for weeks on end.
Here's something most companies won't tell you. Marketing terms like medium hold don't mean anything unless they tell you how the product performs in actual environmental conditions. Real hold strength gets measured by how well it works at 70% humidity or higher, over 8 hours. I test this by applying product at 8 in the morning in a climate-controlled room, then heading outside. I'm in the southeast, testing during spring and summer. I photograph the same section of styled hair every 2 hours. Balms worth buying keep at least 75% of the original styling position after 6 hours in humid conditions. Here's why that works. Higher wax content forms this semi-permeable film around each hair strand. It keeps moisture from getting in while still letting your scalp's natural oils move through. Water-based pomades collapse in humidity because they're hygroscopic. That means they actually pull moisture in and swell up. Wax-based balms push it away. If you want to filter out bad products fast, check whether the brand publishes any humidity resistance testing data. Most don't. That tells you something right there. Let's talk about finish. Matte finishes come from adding kaolin clay at 5 to 8% or bentonite clay at 3 to 5% into the wax base. These clays absorb light and oil, which kills shine, but also means you've only got 30 to 45 seconds to style before the clay sets. Natural sheen finishes skip the clay entirely and just rely on how the wax naturally reflects light. The result looks more like healthy, conditioned hair instead of obviously styled hair. I tend to prefer natural sheen for most hair types because it doesn't fight what your scalp naturally produces. Matte finishes look amazing in photos, but they require more frequent washing to prevent clay from building up along your scalp line. If you've got oily hair, or you work somewhere visible where shine looks like grease, go matte. Otherwise, natural sheen just integrates better with your overall routine. Single shampoo washout is non-negotiable. If you need a clarifying session or multiple rounds of lathering to get the product out, you're dealing with poor emulsification. The oils and waxes aren't bound together properly, so they separate and stick to your hair when it gets wet. Quality balms emulsify under warm water within 20 to 30 seconds of massaging. Any residue left behind builds up at your scalp, clogs follicles, and creates conditions for seborrheic dermatitis or just basic dandruff.
Test this before you buy in bulk. Apply the balm, style like normal, then wash that evening with your regular shampoo in lukewarm water. Run your fingers through your towel-dried hair. If you feel a waxy coating or slickness, the balm failed. Your hair should feel clean but slightly textured. That's the natural state after you've removed product without stripping your natural oils. If you're using product 5 to 7 days a week, residue profile matters more than how strong the initial hold is. Now for pricing. The effective price point for quality balms sits between 80 cents and $1.50 per ounce. Below that, you're getting filler waxes and fragrance. Above $1.50, you're paying for packaging or niche branding. Most balms come in 2 to 4 ounce tins. Tin design actually matters. You want wide mouth access at least 2.5 inches across, so you can scoop product cleanly with your finger. And you want the tin shallow enough that you're not digging with your fingernail when you're halfway through the container. Screw top tins beat flip tops for travel and keeping the product fresh. Flip tops loosen over time and let air in, which hardens the surface of the balm. I've had balms that cost around $15 arrive with perfect formulation, but terrible tins that cracked in my travel kit or leaked in checked luggage. Container quality is part of the product. Evaluate it the same way you'd check a multi-tool's hinge or a backpack's stitching. All right, let's get into the actual products. First up is Honest Amish Original Beard Balm. Yeah, it's marketed for beards, but it outperforms most dedicated hair balms because it's 60% organic beeswax with shea butter, argan oil, and jojoba oil in the next 3 ingredient slots. Zero petroleum, zero silicones, zero synthetic fragrance, just wax and oils. The hold is firm, but you can rework it for 15 to 20 minutes after you apply it, and it washes out completely with one pass of shampoo. Check the link below to see the current price. Here's what works. The ingredient list is 8 items long. Everything's pronounceable and plant-derived. The finish is natural, looks like conditioned hair rather than styled hair. A 2-ounce tin lasts 8 to 10 weeks with daily use, which works out to about 0.06 ounces per application. It's made in the US with organic certification on the main ingredients, and it genuinely works on beards, mustaches, and hair. True multi-use. Here's where it falls short. The tin opening is slightly narrow, 2 2/4 inches across, so if you've got larger hands, it's a bit awkward. The scent is woodsy medicinal from essential oils. Not everyone loves it, and you need to warm it between your palms for 5 to 8 seconds before it emulsifies.
The texture is dense, closer to a salve than what you'd typically call a balm. But once it's warmed up, it spreads cleanly and doesn't clump. I use this for short to medium hair, 2 to 4 inches on top with natural wave. It defines the wave pattern without weighing it down, and it doesn't lose hold when it's humid. One friction point, if you use too much, you'll need 2 shampoos to clear it. Start with a pea-sized amount and add more if you need it. You'll figure out your right dose within 3 tries. Next is Suavecito Matte Pomade. They reformulated this in 2024 to include 12% beeswax and 6% kaolin clay, which moves it out of pure pomade territory into this balm hybrid space. The matte finish is real, zero shine, even under direct light. Hold strength is medium firm. It's water-soluble, which means you give up some humidity resistance compared to pure wax balms, but you get effortless washout in return. Check the link below to see the current price. What works? The matte finish photographs exceptionally well for professional settings. The water-soluble formula rinses completely with just warm water. 4-ounce jar gives you solid value at around 90 cents per ounce. The scent is mild and clean, fades within 30 minutes, and it works for thick, coarse hair that typically fights lighter products. The downsides? Hold duration drops noticeably after 6 hours in outdoor humidity. The clay content means your working time is short. You need to style fast or it sets. And the jar uses a flat plastic lid that cracks easily if you drop it. This sits right at the intersection of pomade convenience and balm texture. If you style in the morning and work indoors all day, it's ideal. If you're outside in variable weather or you need hold through evening events, step up to a pure wax formula. I've run this through 90-degree days with 80% humidity. It holds for about 4 hours before you need a touch-up. For the price and the washability, that's acceptable. Billy Jealousy Gnarly Sheen Refining Hair Balm runs 10% beeswax, 8% shea butter, and includes hydrolyzed wheat protein at 3%. That's uncommon at this price point. The protein adds genuine conditioning. After 2 weeks of consistent use, you'll notice your hair texture is softer. Hold is medium, finish is natural sheen despite what the name suggests, and you can layer it if you need to reapply midday without getting buildup. Check the link below to see the current price. Here's what works. The protein content improves your hair texture over time, not just styling performance. No silicones or synthetic polymers, pure wax and emulsion oil. 2-ounce tin with a wide mouth, 2.75 inches across, so it's easy to access. Subtle sandalwood scent that doesn't compete with cologne or aftershave, and it's made in the US with third-party testing for heavy metals and contaminants.
The downsides, price hovers near the $20 ceiling, so there's less margin for error if it doesn't work for you. Medium hold won't control very thick or curly hair unless you layer it, and the natural sheen can read as oily on camera under certain lighting. I use this as my default for medium-length hair, 3 to 5 inches, when I want texture without making a statement with the hold. It's the balm equivalent of a daily driver, reliable, functional, doesn't draw attention to itself. The protein inclusion is what sets it apart. Most balms under $20 skip conditioning actives entirely. If you're bouncing between standard balm use and exploring hair cream alternatives, this bridges that gap. American Crew Grooming Cream is technically marketed as a cream, but when you look at the ingredients, you see 9% beeswax and 4% lanolin. That pushes it into balm territory. The difference is it's whipped to a lighter consistency, so it applies more like a traditional pomade, but holds like a balm. Finish is natural with slight sheen. It's designed for quick, low-maintenance styling rather than precision work. Check the link below to see the current price. What works, it's widely available at drugstores and barbershops, so it's easy to restock. The whipped texture means you don't need to warm it in your palms before applying. 3-ounce jar delivers excellent value at around 90 cents per ounce. Hold is consistent across hair types, works for fine, medium, and thick hair, and the fragrance is subtle and masculine, without smelling like cologne. The downsides, lighter consistency means you'll use more product per application than you would with denser balms. The jar uses a flip top that loosens after 3 to 4 weeks of daily opening. And it's not marketed as a balm, so if you're expecting typical balm ingredients, it might confuse you the first time. This is the entry point for guys switching from gel or mousse who want balm benefits without learning a completely new application technique. Scoop, rub, apply. No warming, no waiting. Hold lasts 6 to 7 hours indoors, less if it's humid. It's not the highest performer on this list, but it's the most forgiving if you're inconsistent with how you apply it. If you're building out a complete grooming routine and need something low friction to start with, this is it. Modern Pirate's Superior Hold Styling Balm has 15% beeswax, 10% shea butter, and 5% coconut oil. This is the strongest hold on the list. It's formulated for thick, unruly hair that fights most products. The trade-off is it's stiffer in the tin, and you need 10 to 15 seconds of palm warming before it's workable. Once it's emulsified, it spreads evenly and locks your hair in place for 10+ hours, regardless of conditions. Check the link below to see the current price.
Here's what works. Superior hold strength for thick, coarse, or curly hair. Coconut oil adds light conditioning without making your hair greasy. Matte finish from the natural wax composition, no added clays. 2-ounce tin is compact enough for travel and fits in a DOP kit. And it's small batch production in the UK with transparent ingredient sourcing. The downsides, stiff texture makes application awkward if you're rushing in the morning. You'll need 2 shampoo passes for complete removal because of the high wax content. And the scent is divisive, strong cedar wood that some people find medicinal. This is the balm you reach for when everything else has failed to hold your hair. I've tested it on clients with dense, coarse hair that typically requires heavy pomades or gels. It held through 12-hour shifts in high-humidity kitchens and outdoor construction sites. The downside is it's not a casual product. You commit to the application process and the evening washout. For guys who need maximum hold and are willing to work for it, nothing else under $20 competes. Cremo Styling Balm contains 8% beeswax with grapeseed oil and vitamin E. This is the lowest cost option that still delivers legitimate balm performance. Hold is light to medium, finish is natural sheen, and it's clearly designed for guys with fine or thin hair who need texture without weight. It won't control thick hair, but that's not who it's for. Check the link below to see the current price. What works? Price sits well below $1 per ounce, often available for around $8 to $10 for a 4-ounce jar. Light texture means zero learning curve for application. Vitamin E content, 1,000 IU per jar, adds antioxidant benefit for scalp health. Wide distribution at mass retailers like Walmart, Target, CVS. And there's a fragrance-free option available if you've got a sensitive scalp or just don't like scented products. The downsides, light hold fails in humidity or outdoor conditions. Thin consistency means you'll use more product per application than you would with denser balms. And jar quality is low. The plastic feels cheap and the lid threads strip easily. This is the recommendation for guys exploring hair balm for the first time, or those with genuinely fine hair who found other balms too heavy. It's training wheels. You'll learn whether you like the balm format and how it fits into your broader hair product strategy without dropping $15 to $20 up front. Once you've confirmed balm works for you, step up to a higher wax formula. Let me hit some common questions.
What's the difference between hair balm and pomade for men? Hair balm uses wax-based formulations, primarily beeswax at 8 to 15% with minimal water content. Pomade is typically water-based or petroleum-based with polymers for hold. Balm gives you conditioning benefits from natural oils and butters, keeps texture reworkable throughout the day, and washes out more easily than traditional pomades. Pomade delivers stronger initial hold and more shine, but it often has silicones and synthetic ingredients that build up on your hair over multiple applications. How much hair balm should you use per application? Start with a pea-sized amount, roughly 0.05 to 0.07 ounces for short hair, dime-sized for medium-length hair, nickel-sized for longer styles.
Balm concentrates hold in a small volume because of the high wax content. Using too much just creates buildup without improving performance. Warm the product between your palms for 5 to 10 seconds until it liquefies slightly, then apply to dry or slightly damp hair, working from roots to tips. You can always add more after you see how the initial hold works, but removing excess means washing and starting over. Does hair balm work on curly or textured hair? Yes, but you need formulations with 12% or more beeswax and emollient oils like shea butter or coconut oil at 8 to 10% to manage the curl pattern without creating frizz. Balm works by coating the hair shaft and defining individual strands, which enhances curl definition instead of fighting it. Apply to damp hair and scrunch upward to encourage natural curl formation, or apply to dry hair for more separation and texture. Avoid balms with high clay content, the matte finish formulas. Clay absorbs moisture and can make curly hair brittle. The Billy Jealousy formula or the high wax Modern Pirate option both perform well on textured hair in my testing. Can you use hair balm every day without damaging your hair? Daily use is safe with wax-based balms that wash out completely in a single shampoo cycle, as long as you're shampooing 3 to 5 times per week minimum to prevent buildup. The key is ingredient quality. Natural oils and waxes don't damage hair because they don't penetrate the cortex, they just coat the cuticle temporarily. Avoid balms with high silicone content, dimethicone or cyclomethicone for daily use. These create progressive buildup that needs clarifying treatments to remove. If you're using balm daily, rotate between 2 formulations every 2 to 3 weeks to prevent your hair from adapting to a single ingredient profile, which reduces effectiveness over time.
What's the shelf life of men's hair balm after opening? Wax-based balms stay stable for 12 to 18 months after opening if you store them in a cool, dry location with the lid sealed between uses. The main way they degrade is oxidation of the natural oils like jojoba, argan, or grapeseed. That causes a rancid smell and reduced emulsification. Check for off odors or color changes. Fresh balm should smell like whatever essential oils are listed or stay neutral, and the color should stay consistent. If the surface develops a white film, that's wax bloom from temperature fluctuation. It doesn't affect performance, just scrape it off. Store your balm away from bathroom humidity and heat. A bedroom drawer or cabinet is ideal. Petroleum-based products last longer, 24 months or more, but they deliver inferior performance. So here's the verdict. Modern Pirate's superior hold takes the top position for thick, difficult hair that needs serious control. Billy Jealousy Gnarly Sheen is your best all-around performer if you want conditioning benefits alongside styling. For budget-conscious testing, start with Cremo and upgrade once you've confirmed balm fits your routine. The real performance separator at this price point isn't the brand, it's whether you're willing to read ingredient lists and test washability. Most guys buy based on marketing terms like strong hold or matte finish without checking beeswax concentration or testing for petroleum fillers. You now have the framework to evaluate any balm in under 60 seconds. Check where wax sits in the ingredient list, confirm what types of oils they're using, test the single shampoo washout. Do that and you'll avoid 90% of underperforming products, regardless of price. Run the field test. Buy 2 options from this list with different wax concentrations. Use each for 1 week and document hold duration and washability. You'll know your ideal formulation within 14 days. That's better return on investment than 3 months of guessing with products that don't match your hair type or climate.
That wraps up this episode of Luxury Beauty on a Budget podcast. Thanks for listening all the way through. New episodes come out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you've always got something new if you're trying to build out a routine that works without emptying your account. If this helped you out, leaving a 5-star rating and a review actually makes a difference. It's how other people who are tired of marketing nonsense find the show. And hit subscribe or follow so you get notified the second a new episode drops. Appreciate you being here.